To start off, you're going to go to the back side of the live axle to remove the locking collar. Use an Allen wrench to remove and loosen the set screw. And you will take a punch and a hammer and hit counterclockwise on the locking collar to loosen the collar, and counterclockwise to remove the locking collar. Once the locking collar is removed, you can go to the front and remove the shaft. We remove the shaft. Using an Allen wrench, we'll move into the ratchet plate and remove the 6 screws on the ratchet plate. Once your screws are removed, you can remove the ratchet plate and gasket assembly. Your locking collar. On your locking nut and the locking collar, there is a tab. That tab must fully be seated. To remove it, you must pry that tab up. Using a hammer and a screwdriver, press that tab fully out of place. Then you can remove your locking nut. Once the nut is removed, you can pull your locking collar out, noting that the locking collar sits in a groove on the top of the spindle here. Once your locking nut and collar are removed, you can remove the hub from the spindle in the shaft. To reassemble, locking collar, ensuring that the groove goes into the groove of the spindle, slides into place. The locking nut, install the locking nut, screw it on. You notice that there are 4 grooves on the outside of the locking nut, which will help you securing the tabs on your locking nut. Once the locking nut is hand tight, you can use a hammer and a screwdriver and tap the locking nut tightly into place to line up with one of the tabs. At a minimum, 1 tab fully seated. Taking a screwdriver, you will bend over that locking tab in one of the locations on the locking nut. We will reinstall the ratchet plate. With your Allen wrench, we'll reinstall the shaft. Then we will return to the back side of the live axle. We'll install our locking collar. Locking collar goes on and goes clockwise with the rotation of the shaft. We will use a punch, a hammer, tighten up the locking collar, then we use our Allen wrench to tighten up the locking set screw. And we are reassembled.